Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. Today we are driving a highly anticipated model. For me it has been the highlight of 2020 and the car I've been most eager to test, the Porsche Taycan 4S. I wasn't really expecting to test the 4S model. I was just eager to test the Taycan because I've heard so many great things about it, and I was really curious to see just how they would shape up and line up to my expectations. So here it is. I got the Taycan 4S all to myself for a couple of hours, so I decided to tell you guys a couple of things about it. So I'm going to start off typically with the exterior design. The moment you look at this car, you know this is a Porsche. So the guys over in Stuttgart made sure to create a car with a design that instantly tells you this is a Porsche. So a couple of the elements that tell you this is a Porsche is the front end, which has headlights that look just like any other set of headlights in the range today. They have a couple of distinctive features, but they still have the 4 LED dots in the corners to tell you this is a modern Porsche. Also, the front end is sleek and low. Looks absolutely great, has two air vents to the sides, which can be increased if you go for the Sportsline model. So I like it better this way, and the grills are all active. They do something, they're not fake, so they help improve the aerodynamic part of things. Over to the sides, there's a sloping roofline towards the back. This car could be easily included in the 4-door coupe niche, so it looks absolutely brilliant. We have 20-inch optional aero wheels on this car, which basically are meant to improve the aerodynamics of the car and make it more efficient, thus increasing the electric range. Over to the back, that's where the real magic happens, because we have wide hips similar to what you would find on a 911. They are very sculptured and look absolutely brilliant. We have a sculptured rear end design that basically cuts into the car's body, also looks great. We have an LED strip going from side to side, looking brilliant as well. And we have a 3D profile set up for the Porsche name included in the boot lid over at the back, which once again looks absolutely brilliant. You'll notice there's no exhaust pipe or anything like that because this is an electric car, so there's no point in including anything remotely related to that around the back. Step inside the cabin, you'll notice the usual Porsche design and build quality, because this car has a luxurious feel to it. Everything feels really well done. The car is very well sound insulated, so that amplifies the luxury feeling. And unlike other electric cars, it feels really well made. It feels like they didn't spare no expense, because if you've driven any electric car before, or maybe a hybrid in EV mode, you notice that most of the time they tend to feel, I don't know, like they're falling apart. And that's because you have no sound coming from the engine inside. So you can hear every little creak, every little rattle, you can hear every little stone that drops from the tires and so on. So that creates an illusion that the car is not well made. It feels brittle. That's not the case for the Taycan, because the Taycan feels really, really well made, really sturdy. It's also really comfortable inside. The seats are great, heated, ventilated, whatever you want. So in terms of interior design, it's different compared to other models, but at the same time similar. We have a big instrument cluster. It's digital, and it's made by a curved screen with all sorts of customization possible, from the data you see and so on to the speedometer. You get info about the tire pressure and so on. So a lot of info right in front of you. You have touch sensitive buttons on the sides to adjust various settings for the car. You have a big display right in the middle, and for a couple of grand more you get a display for the passenger, which activates automatically whenever you have someone in the passenger seat. You also get a display here which helps you adjust the temperature inside. It's mainly used for the temperature and the climate control system, but it also has a couple of shortcuts for the big screen up top. I have to say, adjusting the airflow in this car is tricky. You can't really pull on these. You have to go into a sub menu and do it using that. It's pointless if you ask me, but it's okay. Now, normally I'm against screens in cars because they demand you take your eyes off the road to adjust something. You have to look where you are pressing, and they leave a lot of fingerprints. But I understand why Porsche did this on this model, because it's a car fitted with so much technology. Just using regular old buttons didn't make any sense, so it would ruin the ambience inside. Sitting in the back, you notice you don't have a lot of room. Not legroom, not headroom, but that's okay. This car isn't meant to be the most practical car out there. It's meant to be sporty. So how does it drive? Well, it's the best handling sports car with an electric engine I've ever driven, and I think it's the best on the market today. Now, this car is the 4S. It's not the top of the range Turbo or Turbo S model, so it does come up short in terms of power. Now, for the 4S, you get two battery options. You have the Performance battery and the Performance Plus battery. The Performance battery offers about 71 kilowatts of energy, but the Performance Plus offers up to 84 kilowatts. And if you go for the Performance Plus, you get more power in total. These cars have between 530 and 570 horsepower depending on the battery you choose, and that's only available during overboost. Otherwise, you're cruising along with about 460 horsepower. So that maximum amount of power is available on short bursts, and you also have 420 newton meters of torque. All Taycan models are all-wheel drive as of now. All of them come with an electric motor up front and one in the back, so you have all-wheel drive on all of them. And depending on the one you get, the acceleration times to 100 kilometers an hour range from under 3 seconds, 2.6 or 2.8 for the Turbo S model, to 4 seconds for the 4S, which I'm driving today. And I have to say, it's more than enough. I mean, anyone saying that 570 horsepower isn't enough must have their brains examined. I mean, I know lately car makers have been offering ludicrous amounts of power on their cars, but really, it's really enough. And it's not all about power, it's about the way you use that power and the control you have in the car. And the Porsche Taycan comes with a lot of new tech. So it comes with air suspension as standard, adaptive dampers as standard. It comes with integral steering. It comes with a locking differential on the rear axle. All of these items can be bought, and they improve the handling of the car greatly. Porsche even created a special computer, a 4D control management unit that handles all these systems in order to deliver the best experience when you're driving the car. So you have a couple of driving modes. You have range, normal, sport, sport plus, and individual mode. So you can set up individual mode any way you like, but the one you'll be spending most time in is normal mode, in which the car feels natural, feels comfortable. The moment you mash on the pedal, you're off. So it's so brutal and so fast, your head hurts after a couple of launches, and mine does right now. So you gotta be prepared. This car also handles like it's on rails. For a car that's 2.3 tons in weight, it shouldn't be capable of doing this, and yet the Taycan does it. So it feels like a cat that's actually hanging on for dear life using its claws. It grips like crazy in the corners. You can enter corners with so much confidence, so much speed. It's incredible. And the car feels neutral all the time, and that's torque vectoring working for you without you even realizing it. The traction control doesn't intervene too much. It was set up perfectly. And whenever you enter a bend, even if you carry too much speed, the car system will protect you. Now, the center of gravity is so low. It's the lowest center of gravity in all Porsche cars. today, because the battery is in the floor. So the center of gravity is so low that whenever you enter a corner carrying more speed than you should, you do feel a bit of understeer, but it's different from anything else I've experienced because it's so low. It feels like only the wheels are pushing a bit outside while you're staying within the ideal line. It's really weird and really hard to describe. But it's all so manageable, so easy to drive, inspires so much confidence. The driving position is absolutely brilliant. You feel like you're in command all the time. You're sitting low, you have great visibility, and you get to see those wide hips in the rear view mirror, which is a pleasure on every Porsche. So what's my takeaway? Well, this has just risen to the top of my bucket list of cars. I need one by the time I'm dead, and this has just risen to the top of my preferences. Previously a place occupied by the Panamera, and now this Porsche Taycan just beat that Panamera senseless, and it is now my favorite car to have. I don't think I would need the Turbo or the Turbo S. I think the 4S is plenty fast for my taste. Having 760 horsepower is a bit of a stretch, and it can become dangerous at some point. So you might want to keep that in mind. This said, I'm gonna mention the energy consumption figures now, just before I say goodbye. So around town I saw an average of 21 kilowatts per 100 kilometers covered. Outside the city limits, at an average speed of around 60 miles an hour, I saw an average of about 22. So really close numbers. Given the battery you choose, I think you will be able to achieve the 400 kilometers of range Porsche claims for the 4S. That said, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell icon just to be notified whenever I post a new review. Let's get to that 1,000 subscribers mark. Until next time, don't forget to have fun driving and feed your passions. Ciao.